Good day everyone, you are welcome to Airline tutorial. For this tutorial class, we'll be learning how to draft our jacket with cape. And to start with, we'll be learning how to draft a basic body. And the basic blouse body is what I will modify for our jacket, both the front and the back panel. So to people who have been having issue knowing how to draft a basic body, I'm going to teach you. And the measurements we're using basically for this tutorial are bust circumference of 34, waist circumference of 29, the hip circumference of 37, the shoulder to butt point 10, shoulder to waist is 16, the shoulder circumference we are using is 14, the shoulder to chest line 7, the butt point is 7, the cape length we are using is 26, and the shoulder to hem line, that is the length of our jacket, is going to be 22. I want my cape to be longer than my jacket. That is why you can see a difference of 4. You can make your own to be equal with your jacket length. It all depends on what you want. But I want my cape to be longer than my jacket. That's why I'm using a cape length of 26 and a jacket length of 22. So let's start. So as you can see, I already draw my margin. I have 2 inches margin on this side, 1 inch margin at the upper part of my pattern paper. And this margin at the upper part is going to serve as my shoulder line. So after that, after we have our shoulder line, we are going to draw our shoulder to waist line, and that is 16. So from here, I will mark 16. So after that, we are going to draw our shoulder to butt point, and what we have from shoulder to butt point is 10. So just make sure you are noting all this line. This is our shoulder to waist line, our shoulder to butt point. Now we are going to draw our shoulder to hem line, and that is 22. On our shoulder line, we are going to input our shoulder measurement, and the shoulder we are working with is 14. 14 divided by 2, that is 7. So from there, you are going to mark your 7 inches. Then from here, you mark your 3 inches, that is my neck width. On this 7 inches mark, you come down by 1 inch and you connect them together. So after that, you are going to measure your shoulder to chest line, and the shoulder to chest line we are working with is 7. So from there, you are going to mark your 7 inches down like this. Then you make a straight line from the 7 inches mark. Method for calculating your chest line is your butt divided by 6 plus 1.5. Mine is 7, so that I've got the 7 inches. So I'm going to connect these plates together. So after connecting this together, we want to input our waist dart, and that will be on the shoulder to waistline. The waist dart we are going to calculate it by dividing our butt point by 2. And the butt point we are working with is 7. 7 divided by 2, that's 3.5. So on this, your shoulder to waistline, you measure 3.5 on mark. You do the same thing for your shoulder to hem line. You mark. You do the same thing on your shoulder to butt point. You mark. So after marking your 3.5 on these 3 lines, you are going to come in by half inch on your shoulder to waistline. Half inch, so that is 1 inch. So when you are calculating your waist measurement on your waistline, you are going to include this 1 inch. On this your hem line, you are going to come up by 2 inches. The dart doesn't get to the hem line of our blouse, so it's going to stop 2 inches before the hem line, and we are going to connect them together this way. We are going to connect it to the butt point too. On our set line, we are going to input our butt divided by 4, and that is 8.5. And mark your 8.5. On the waistline, we are going to input our waist circumference by 4, and that is 7.25 plus 1 inch that we put in at that. So that will be 8.25. I will be rounding it up to 8.5. On our M line, we are going to input our hip circumference, and the hip circumference we are working with is 37. 37 divided by 4, that is 9.25. I want to round it up to 9.5. So from here, I mark my 9.5 and I mark. After that, I'm going to connect the points together. So now we want to draw our armhole. So you come to this area. From here, you measure what you have there. This is 8. What I have there is 8. 8 divided by 2, that is 4. I'm going to mark the 4 inches. So on this 4 inches mark, I will come in by 0.5. Then I'll pick my curve and connect them together. So from here, I will connect this line to this line to this line. This point to this point to this point with my pattern master. Yeah, this is how it's going to be like. You can see the points are connected, and I will join them together. So this is how our front armhole is going to look like. So we are going to add our seam allowance, and the seam allowance is optional on a pattern paper, but I always love having my seam allowance on my pattern so that when cutting my fabric, I know I'm just cutting exactly what I need. So on my chest line, waistline, and my M line, I'm going to add 2 inches. The seam allowance it depends on you, but I always love adding 2 inches to avoid story that touches the art when sewing in my fabric. Then I'll connect them together. I'm going to extend my M line. So after that, our front basic body is almost getting ready. So we are going to add our seam allowance to the M line. I'm going to add, it depends on what you want. You can add 1, you can add 2, you can add 1.5, but I would love to add 1 inch on my M line. I'm going to connect them together.